Okay, problem pass-off sheet number 9. This material coincides with 8-7 from your book. In the past, I have done cones and pyramids with this, and I'm still not opposed to doing that, but I have not made it a pass-off sheet yet. So be thankful. It's a little more work, especially the cones. Pyramids aren't too bad. But anyway, so we're just going to do the basic 3 steps, or the basic 3 shapes. We've got our triangular prism, our rectangular prism, and our cylinder. And what we're concerned about this time is not the we're not concerned about the inside, which we were before when we were doing volume. We're concerned with what's on the outside. So as if I were to make like a pop can, I would want to know the amount of metal I'd need there, or a tissue box, or I don't know, what's that European candy bar that's in a triangle? I don't know. Anyway, um, so that's what we're worried about. We're just worried about the packaging, the outside. Okay. So how I like to break this down is I like to figure out how many shapes I have. I know I've got this triangle right here, and the exact same triangles in the back. So I'm going to tell myself, hey, I've got 2 of these triangles. Okay. And then I'm going to say, okay, I've got a front side right here. So I've got one big rectangle there, and its dimensions are 5 and 12. So you can see the dimensions 5 and 12. And let me write the dimensions for my triangle too. They're 3 and 4. And then I've got another triangle or another rectangle right back here, and its dimensions are 3 and whatever this is, and it's 12 because these sides are the same. So I've got one other rectangle in the back, and its dimensions are 3 high and 12 long. And then I've got one more rectangle on the very bottom, right down here, and its dimensions are 4. Oops, I forgot to draw my rectangle on there. Its dimensions are 4 by 12. And what we're going to do is we're going to find out the area of each one of those shapes, add them together, and then we'll know what our surface area is. So it's a little bit more work, but all it is finding area 4 times. Okay. So let's do the first one, my little triangles. I know my area formula is base times height divided by 2. So 3 times 4 is 12. Divided by 2 is 6. Now I have 2 of these, right? The one in the front and the one in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and times that by 2. That gives me 12. So I need to keep that number safe because I'm going to add it to my other ones. Then I've got this next one. I've got 12 by 5. And we know that when we do a rectangle, we just need to times the 2 sides. So I've got 12 times 5. That gives me 60. I'm going to keep that one safe. Then I've got 3 times 12. And this one gives me 36. And then 4 times 12, which gives me 48. Okay, so now I have all these pieces together, right? And I can just add them now. So I have 12 plus 60 plus 36 plus 48, which gives me 156. And we're using meters. And now the question is it cubed? Is it squared? Is it nothing? We're doing area, not volume, right? We're not worried about what's on the inside. Just what we're worried about is the faces. So that's all area all the time, which is squared. So I can make this out of little squares. Cubes wouldn't work because then my packaging would be really thick, right? It would take up the spot for my product. Okay, let's try the rectangle. Okay. In fact, let me just move this other one up to the top so you guys can see it up there. So this one's 156 meters squared. Okay. Now this next one, we've got a rectangle right here. Okay, so I've got a rectangle, and it is 3 by 2. And I've got one here, and I've got one on the other side as well, right here. So I have 2 of those. So I'm going to times it by 2. Then I have one on the front and one on the back. So I'm going to have 2 of these as well. And it is 5 by how tall it is, which happens to be 2, right? Those are the same. 5 by 2. So I have 2 of those. And then the last thing I have is the base here and the top up here. I have 2 of those. Rectangular prisms are so great like that because you have equal sides. And it is a 3 by 5. Oh, I should write it in the right spot, huh? So this one's 5 and this one's 3. Alright, now I just need to do the math and I'm good to go. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then I've got 2 of them, so I'm going to times that by 2. That gives me 12. 5 times 2 is 10. And I've got 2 of those, so that gives me 20. And then 5 times 3 is 15. And I have 2 of those, so that gives me 30. I add all those together. That gives me 62. And their feet. And like I said, we're just worried about the outside, not the inside. So that's going to be our area, which is squared. Okay. Last one. And this one is probably the trickiest because, you know, it's a little bit tougher to visualize this. When I break apart a cylinder, I have a disc on the top, a disc on the bottom. So I have 2 discs. And then I've got this curvy piece in the middle. Well, the piece, if you were actually to take a scissors and cut it all the way across, makes a rectangle, which is cool. So, I know that to find the area of my circle, I go, my radius is 4. I actually don't need both discs, right, because they're going to be exactly the same. So I can just times this one by 2. So I'm going to go, the area of this top circle is pi r squared, because we're finding the area of it. So that's pi 4 squared, which is pi 16. 16 times 3.14 happens to be 50.24. Okay, I'll keep that one safe. Now, the other one, I know that since I cut this piece out and rolled it out, one of my sides is 8.5. The question is, what is the other side? The other side, you'll recall, is the one hooked onto the disc, right? And so this all wrapped around on it. So what is the outside of a circle? Like, that's what the top of this rectangle is. What is the outside of a circle? How do I find that? That is our circumference, which is why we needed to learn circumference in problem pass off sheet 7. So to find circumference, you'll recall that circumference is 2 pi r. And I'm just going to use r because that's all I have. So I need to go 2 times 4, which gives me 8, times that by pi. 8 times pi, which I'm using 3.14. Whoops, messed up on my calculator. 8 times 3.14 gives me 25.12. So I did that little math there to get this one side. Am I done? No, I still need to find the area of this. So I go 25.12 times 8.5, and that gives me 213.52. Now I have got the areas that I need, right? No, right? Because did I remember to times this by 2? I didn't. Remember, we've got a top disk and we've got a bottom disk. So let's times this by 2 since I forgot to. So 50.24 times 2 gives me 100.48. Now I can add these together. So I've got 213.52 and add it to the 100, and that gives me 314 meters squared. Okay. And I'll tell you what, my favorite problem to give out of all of these is the cylinder. Okay, so make sure you practice up on how to do the cylinder. I like that you have to do a little bit of extra work, and it's a little bit more abstract because you have to think about how the curvy part of your pop can or whatever it is can be folded out into a rectangle, and I think that's fun. Okay, that's it.